Hi. I always get a little discombobulated when I press the thing, but it's like, oh, I'm on. I could not be more middle-aged on YouTube if I tried. Moving on. My last YouTube installment in my crafting romance uh, channel was Indirect Characterization. And the one I used back then, the one I used last week or 2 weeks ago was thoughts. Was thoughts. How a character's thoughts reveal who they are. Now, and it's funny because right when I said that, I had a completely different idea for thoughts that I did not share with you last time, and I will share that in just a second. Tonight, we're doing appearances. How a character's appearance reveals who they are. Okay. Last week, when I did thoughts, one of the things I did not say, and I should have, because it was truly one of the most, stunning examples of craftsmanship in a book that I've read, and that was in, Crime and Punishment, Theodore Dostoevsky. Yes, actually taught that book. And the fun thing about teaching the book is that you have to look at all of these elements and explain them to students in case the students don't get them. And when you're teaching to AP students, well, all those kids are smarter than you are anyway. So you have to be on your game. And that's one of the things that I used, was what I learned teaching that book. That's one of the things I used. And I learned it from one of the most monstrous characters in fiction. I forget his name because that seems to be my MO. I forget his name, but there is a scene. He's a pedophile, and he is looking at a child. He has a dream in which he wants a child, and he's thinking, I could do this, because he believes he is better than the other human beings. And part of the book is explaining where this Kierkegaardian idea of the Superman will take us if we are not careful. And his thoughts, his dreams, his assumption of his entitlement to whatever he wants, these are monstrous. And he appears to be a gentleman. He appears to be rich and kind and, well, if not kind, at least well-cultured. And to see that contrasted with his thoughts, which are monstrous, and then to see his realization of who he is in his belief that he's Superman, to see that leads to suicide at the end, it is really a very stunning idea, a very stunning depiction of how our thoughts reveal ourselves as characters. But that's also dark. So we're going to appearances now, and we will make this just a wee bit lighter. And I'm going to use myself as an example because I'm always good for a laugh. My first convention, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this themed, right? Now, remember, I was 40 years old, and I had spent a great deal of my time as a teacher wearing jeans as often as possible. And part of that was because of the way the students responded to me when I wore jeans. When I first started teaching, I dressed up. I was the adult in the room. I wore my nice dresses. I wore my hose. I wore my nice shoes. I had my hair back, and the kids hated me. They hated my guts. I was teaching in an inner city classroom, and I was as foreign to them as an alien with a crystal skull. They did not relate to me at all. One day, I had a really bad day. I was late for everything. I ended up having to, my hair had come out of a very neat French braid that went halfway down my back, so it was just wild. I ended up running the length of the campus holding my nice little heeled shoes by my hand, and my hose were just in shreds, creeping up up to my knees by the time I blew into the classroom. And I had my best teaching day ever after that. And I realized that those kids did not give a crap that I had kind of a grown-up's wardrobe. And if we were poor enough that it was a stretch to have kind of a grown-up's wardrobe, they needed to see me not be perfect. Now, you all know, just watching this video, that perfect is not who I am. It is not in my makeup. So they needed to see me be human. And my appearance had to echo that. And so I had spent 15 years working on my jeans and t-shirt collection, and I thought that this was going to work for me when I went as a writer and made a public appearance. So my first convention, I had all sorts of t-shirts made up that had covers of my books on them, and I wore them with jeans, and I thought, yes, this is good, this will work. And then I saw my first picture on Facebook, and I went, ah! And I texted my husband, who was at home, and said, how do I look? And he goes, well, that shirt you're wearing is not flattering, but your face is pretty. And I went, it's a promotional t-shirt. I had 5 different ones made, one for every day. And he went, oh, sorry. And that was one of my first lessons in professional dressing. Hold on a second.
6, 9, 7, 1, 5, 0, 5, 2.
There we go.
From 9, 1, 6,
I
9, 7, 1, 5, 0.
My husband's
5,
going, just
2.
unplug that. I'm like, I don't even know where the plug is right now.
9, 1, 6, 9, 7, 1, 5, 0, 5, 2.
Anyway, that's our spam phone, and it rings maybe once every 3 days, so you're welcome.
9, 7, 1, 5, 0, 5, 2.
There we go.
Call from 9, 1,
Make them go away.
7, 1, 5, 0, 5, 2.
There. Okay. Better. Our spam phone is now dead. Thank the gods. Anyway, so that was, and it came at a late date in my life, one of my first real lessons in the art of professional dressing. And it did not involve t-shirts and jeans. We judge people on their appearance. And sometimes, in fact often, a person's appearance is not a true reflection of who they are. I have a great deal of education in my subject. I spent a lot of my life hiding how much education in my subject I had, so that the people that I was trying to educate would not be intimidated or angry at that. And people as a whole do that without even thinking about it. They work as chameleons inside their own skins to try and project what they think the world needs to see in order to deal with them as a person. So when we as writers are describing a character and we talk about their appearance, the key to looking at their appearance is to say, oh, who does this look like? Who are we approaching? And then contrast that with either their thoughts or their speech or what the people around them think of them and how they seem to act. Or, just contrast what they look like with their thought, their word, their deed, or the respect that other people accord them. And these things, acting all in concert, can give us a truly rounded picture of who this character is. If you have somebody who is very professional looking, but we have seen them have a nervous breakdown over the right tie clip in the morning, we know this person needs a little more caring for than they perhaps let on. If we see somebody who looks like they got dressed in a hurricane, and mirror is a foreign word, and yet they open their mouths and what comes out is erudite and informative and concise. We know that this person is way more concerned with their inner life than they are with their outward appearance. One of my first characters, Corinne Carol Ann Kirkpatrick op Crock and Green, spends much of the books dressing as badly as she can. And part of that is because we meet her as an angry adolescent, and she is determined to treat the world as badly as it has treated her. And part of that comes with the attitude and the snarl, and she dyes her hair black, and she wears the skulls and which is funny because when I wrote this, those things were a symbol of, real anger, and now they've become very trendy. But but as a character, she is 20 years old. Anyway, but the contrast between who she truly was, who's literally a little goddess, and who the world took her to be at the beginning, that was the conflict that I wanted to build worlds on. And it's funny because as we watch young people and TikTok, and we watch their protest, and we watch their smarts, and we watch their savvy, and we watch their courage, that's something that people took for granted for a very long time, was the absolute power of an adolescent female, and how much amazing potential they have as they mature. And we're starting to appreciate that now, I think, in this day and age. And that contrast, how much power she has as a person versus what she wanted the world to think of her, that is appearance versus thought, word, deed, and the respect accorded by others. And this is a powerful tool in indirect characterization. I'm going to go back to J.D. Robb and Eve Dallas for this one, for my classical reference. I try to use an actual book reference. And Eve Dallas cuts her hair herself. She usually dresses very badly, and Rourke steps in and starts dressing her. And as the books continue, we know that her outward appearance becomes a little more snazzy, a little more classy. She starts going, hey, that's a weapon. I can look badass in that. I will use that. But we know that the person she is, who, the core of integrity, the absolute dedication to the job, that has not changed. But we see the character develop with her understanding that her appearance is a tool, and it can be used. So there we go. So that is indirect characterization, appearance. I hope my appearance didn't suck too badly. And I hope my incident with the spam phone, which is now unplugged forever and ever, may it rot in peace, was at least good for a laugh.